We are the Ministry of the Real Truth, and recently we found this video, a short video on YouTube, where this interviewee asks another, probably a biblical scriptural expert, questions in regard to the Genesis account of the nephew of Abraham the Patriarch living in Sodom, being told by two angels or two men to leave because he's about to get annihilated totally. So he had to leave with his two to-be son-in-laws, his two daughters and his wife. His two to-be son-in-laws decided, nah, we're not coming. So they stayed behind and were annihilated along with Sodom. He climbs onto a ridge or something like that, and his wife is told not to look back. So she does. She turns into a pillar of salt. So he carries on with his two daughters, goes to Zoar, but he's suspicious of the men there in regards to his daughters. So he flees and heads for the mountains and lives in the caves there. So we will listen to this and what's said, what's claimed, and then we will compare it with the original ancient Brita or Genesis of the Ktav Ashurit, the Aramaic, the old tongue sacred scribal language of God, of which he spoke to Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden with, translated into the nearest English equivalent by the native born Aramaic speaking translator from Mesopotamia, Syria, Victor N. Alexander, who has over 20 years translating those into the nearest English equivalent, and as well as the original ancient, hidden therefore preserved Galilean Aramaic New Testament manuscripts of the original Apostolic Church of the East, which was hidden for over 2,000 years, therefore preserved, which he got hold of. He bought from a high priest in Bible format and then translated that Galilean Aramaic into the nearest English equivalent. So let's first listen to what's being said in this video.
Who are the kids of Lot's daughters? So this is one of the most disturbing stories in the book of Genesis, and it goes like this. Lot leaves Sodom. Sodom gets destroyed. He loses all his wealth and his industry, his servants, everything else. He goes and he lives in mountains and caves, and his daughters are like, there's no other men for us to marry, so they get him drunk and take advantage of him. And the children that are born out of that sin, one of them is named Moab, where the Moabites come from, and that name literally means of my father, which is kind of a disturbing name. But then the other one is named Ben-Ami, which means the son of my peoples. And so that daughter, who had grown up in Sodom, that's the only life she had ever known, her husband would have been from Sodom, now she has a child, and when she names him Ben-Ami, it's like the son of my people. It's like she's saying, I'm keeping the Sodom legacy alive, and this child will be it. And when you study the legacy of the Moabites and Ammonites, they are almost universally evil, except one of them, and the maternal of Jesus' ancestry, will bring about the Savior of the world. So Ruth will be a Moabite, but outside of her, there's almost nothing redemptive about the Moabites and the Ammonites in Scripture.
So let's have a look at the original Brita, or Genesis. We're going to skip all the Abraham related stuff. Going to go down to 19, Genesis 19 or Brita 19, and there came two angels to Sodom in the evening, and Lot's place was at the entrance to Sodom, or at the gates. And Lot saw them and went out to meet them on the road, and he fell on his face and worshipped them. And he said, I beg you, my lords, head for the house of his servant, and I will accommodate you, or his house, and wash your feet, and tomorrow, because it was customary, you can be on your way. And they said, no, we will stay at the inn. Footnote indicated there. 19.2, literal Aramaic idiomatic expression, in the marketplace or on the street. And Lot insisted that they stay with him. He was prompting them, right, come on guys. So they came and entered his house, and he brought them wine or refreshments, baked bread for them in the earthen oven, and they ate. And they had not fallen asleep before the townsmen, the people of Sodom, had already encircled the house from the young to the old, and all the people of the ilk. And they called out to Lot and told him, "Where are those men who came to you in the night? Bring them out, let us get to know them." So either we want to know them better because they're strangers, or we want to know them physically, sexually. Probably the latter. And Lot went out to the door to them, and those inside closed the door behind him. And Lot told them, "Do not let it bother you, brethren or brothers. For look, I've got 2 children, or 2 daughters, that have not yet known a man. They're virgins. I will let them go out to meet you, and so you can do to them what is proper in your eyes. Only do not do anything to these men, because they have entered under the shelter of my abode." So he's saying, come on guys, be normal. There's 2 pretty girls here. They've never had a man before, so go that way instead of the other way. And they screamed, the people screamed, "Move aside." And they said, "You are the one who settled among us, and behold, you dare judge us. Now we will treat you worse than them." And Lot wrestled with the men fiercely, and they nearly broke down the door. So he put up a fight, but they nearly got in. And the men inside extended their hands and pulled Lot back into the house, and they secured the door. And the men outside the house were blinded by the light rays from the small to the great, and they were no longer able to find the door. Okay, so these guys were angels, right? Had that power to make them all blind, etc. And the men said to Lot, "Why did you do this? Your sons-in-laws, your daughters, and everyone you have in the house, take them out of this country. Because we are going to destroy this country, for their outrage has risen before the Lord, and the Lord has sent us to destroy them." And Lot went out and spoke with his sons-in-law who had married his daughters, and he told them, "Get up and leave this country, because the Lord will destroy it." But in the eyes of the sons-in-laws, it seemed like he was humouring them. They thought it was funny. Thought he was putting a prank. And as the dawn ascended over the horizon, the angels pressed Lot and told him, "Get up and fetch your wife and your 2 daughters that you can find, lest they are swallowed up in the sins of the town." Or go look for them, right? Lot finally relented, and the angels took him by the hand, and his wife by her hand, and his 2 daughters by their hands, because the Lord had spared them, and they got him out and settled him outside of the town. And as they took them out, they said, "Save your soul and do not look back. Worry about not having gotten everything out." Because they're in a hurry, so they probably left some things behind. "Go to the mountains so that you will not perish." And Lot said to them, "I pray, my lords, look, your servant has found mercy in your eyes, and much is the grace that you have shed on me to save my soul. But I cannot make it to the mountain, and if evil should overtake me, I will surely die. Behold, this town is near, so let me flee there." Probably talking about Zoar. "Look, it is a small thing, my life will be spared there." And he told him, "Look, for your sake, I will also grant you this favour, that this town you spoke of will not be visited. Quickly, go out of there, because I cannot do anything until you enter it." That is why the name of the town is called Zoar. Footnote indicator. Have a look at that. (1922) Literal Aramaic name, oath. So that's what it was called in the Aramaic. Oath. The sun rose over the earth, and Lot headed for Zoar. And the Lord brought down the fire and brimstone upon Sodom and Gomorrah from before the presence of the Lord in heaven. And the fire lashed out at those cities and all the surrounding areas, and all those who inhabited the land and lived off the land. And Lot's wife turned around, looked behind her, and turned into a figure of salt. And in the morning Abraham set off to the land where he stood before the Lord. 27. Literal Aramaic idiomatic figure of speech. Country. Okay, so that's having a bit of a breakdown. It's talking about Abraham momentarily. And he gazed upon the face of Sodom and the face of Gomorrah and the face of all the surrounding countryside, and behold, take note, he saw the smoke rising above the land. He looked and he saw the smoke rising above the land, like the smoke of the fiery pit. And behold, as God destroyed the cities of wilderness, God recalled Abraham and sent Lot out of the deluge of fire, with a flood of fire, as he poured down the fire on the towns that Lot had inhabited, or where he lived. So Lot went up from Zoar and settled in the mountains, he together with his 2 daughters with him, because he felt the suspicion. He was very wary of them, of the inhabitants there, and thus he settled in the outlying area, he and his 2 daughters, probably in regard to his daughters. And the elder said to the younger one, Behold, our father is getting old, and there are no men in the land, so that we may go to them according to the way of the world. Come, let us get our father drunk with wine and sleep with him, and raise offspring from our father. And they served their father wine in the night until he got drunk. And the elder went in and slept with their father, and he did not know of his sleeping with him and her getting up. Or sleeping with him, getting up out of bed and going into her own room. And they got their father drunk that night also. And it was on another day, and the elder, or the older daughter, said to the younger one, Behold, I slept in the evening with my father. Let us get him drunk this night also. Enter and sleep with him, as I did, she says, and let us raise offspring from our father. Let us get children, descendants, because there's no men around, and we're getting on, and we need some children. And they got their father drunk that night also, or again, and the young one entered and slept with him, and he did not know of her sleeping with him and her getting up. So he had no idea that she slept with him and got up and went to her own room in the morning, right? He didn't know. And both daughters of Lot became pregnant from their father. And the elder gave birth to a son, and she named him Moab. He is the father of the Moabites to this day, or in that era, right? Let's have a look at 37. 1937. Literal Aramaic name of their father, of my father. 1937 too. Literal Aramaic idiomatic construction. He became the father of the Moabites to these days. In their era. Thereafter. 1938. And the younger one, she too gave birth to a son, and she named him Ammon. Not Ben Ami, that's in the Hebrew. Here in the Aramaic it's Ammon. He is the father of the Ammonites to this day, with those to follow. He was the forefather of the Ammonites, the people of Ammon, his descendants. Footnote indicator. This is the real kicker, right? This will shock many, because in your Americanized Bible versions it says the son of, and that she was the daughter of Lot. Okay. 1938 1. Literal Aramaic name, son of my uncle. And it goes on to say 1938 2 in the footnotes. Literal Aramaic idiomatic construction. He became the father of the Ammonites to these days, or to follow. It means people. So it's indicating people. So these descendants of Ammon, the Ammonites. So there's a shocker there. If it says here in the footnotes, and these are the original ancient, very old Ktav Ashurit Aramaic manuscripts from hand copied from scribes and monks, or by scribes and monks in Urhai around 800 to 900 b.c.e. It says here, son of my uncle. So she wasn't his daughter as such, she was his niece. So it doesn't make any mention of Lot having another unknown brother. He may have. It's not mentioned in the scriptures here. We've looked online to find more information on these particular two, and all of the modern Bible versions seem to be avoiding this, ignoring this. They're saying the son. She had a son and his name was Ammon, or Ben Ami in the Hebrew, etc., etc. Yet it does indicate about the, I think it's a Mishnah or something, or the Talmud, where it says, makes mention about this particular daughter, younger daughter. It's like Palath or something like that. It's got a strange name, starts with P, and so forth. And his name was Ben Ami, son of my people. Yeah, son of the people, of the Ammonites, father of the Ammonites. He was a son to her, but he became the father of the Ammonites, etc., etc. We can leave that information in the description box of this video, so you can look at that and study it for yourself. But here it specifically says in the Aramaic, son of my uncle, so that indicates she was not his daughter, she was his niece. Also, we read online that he had possibly had a third daughter, but she died in Sodom. Maybe she was murdered or something like that. We can't recall exactly what it was, but she died in Sodom probably before the annihilation went down. So that's probably a surprise, horror to many, but that's how it's translated in the original ancient Brita, or Genesis, of the Ktav Ashurit Aramaic, translated into the nearest English equivalent by native-born Aramaic speaking translator Victor Alexander. So if you are quite surprised by this video and you quite like it, then give us a like, add your comments below. We'll get back to you on those as soon as possible, and then go share this, which will be very eye-opening to family, friends, church members, etc., in comparison with your modern Americanized English Bible translations, versions that you have today, which specifically say son of. They're probably leaving that out because it's quite shocking. Okay, there are further cases like this throughout the Old Testament of different people doing similar things and so forth. So again, if you like this video, give us a like, subscribe to our channel, add your comments below, and then go share this with all your family, friends and others.